So I'm just going to start now, and I am going to at 3:15. My friend Tina's gonna go on, and she'll be able to speak out her truth about racism and just bringing light to what it is that's going on. Um, I think that with a lot of things that are going on, which is COVID-19 is one of them. Um, Protesting peacefully and even the riots all over the world, I think that there is something that people are not really talking about. And so my friend just went on. Let's see. I'm going to add her to make sure that she's part of the conversation. And we will go live together. Hi, Tina. How are you?
Hi.
How are you doing?
Good. How are you?
Good. So I'm gonna say something just before we start, and then we can start, and we'll hear you out on what it is that you want to share with everybody. Okay.
Okay.
So I was just saying how there's just so much going on in this world, like with COVID-19, with protesting, peacefully protesters, and at the same time, we're seeing the destruction and the killing of innocent people, black, colored people. And I want everybody to understand that this conversation is not about it's everybody's life matters. It's not about every life matter. We're not talking about that because that comes in a different topic in a way um, that yes, everybody's lives matter, but what's happening is that we're forgetting about the struggles of what color people and black people are going through. If you haven't heard, there's a few lynching that the recent news of people being hung by a tree, and they're calling it a suicide. And I want to be honest and be able to share my feelings. And my feelings is that I haven't felt good. I don't. Every day is a struggle to try to figure out what it is that we're supposed to be doing, and how much is it that we can do. It can get a little bit overwhelming to the point that you don't want to say nothing. You don't want to be um going through the information that's coming up and that you're sharing. But I feel like even though I feel overwhelmed, even though I feel like I need a break, mental break, um I still have to continue because, one, I'm thankful that nothing has happened to me or anybody that I love to the extent of what happened to George Floyd, um, to the extent of what happened to many black people who are getting murdered and they're innocent, to the point that um, people are actually trying to speak out and to say, no, you're not going to keep treating us like this, and you continue to 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 kill them and to put fear in them. So I want to just share something with you before I get into that conversation with Tina. And I'm so happy that she's on and we're able to share this. But again, I actually write my thoughts down sometimes, especially when it's overwhelming and it's too much going on. And I try to keep myself busy with working out, with making sure that I'm taking care of my health, my son's health, and all of that. But I wrote this on so this month, June 6, 20, trauma. Okay, so I named it trauma. You have traumatized our children. You have, let me see, why is it going? Why is it not going? This is weird. Sorry, it's just I'm going. I don't know what just happened. I was just kicked out. So I was starting with something that I wrote, 6/6/20, trauma. You have traumatized our children. You have used excessive force to arrest someone for selling water, CD, anything simple. I'm going to have you join right now, okay? I'm just going to share this and then we can join. Let me see. I don't know what happened. I think Instagram is trying to kick us out. Let me see if you're connected.
Okay, that's better.
Oh my
I had to
goodness.
restart my phone and stuff. I don't know what was happening there.
I think, and then I just got kicked out of Instagram too, which is weird.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm gonna share something that I wrote, and then we'll go from there. Okay? Don't leave. So I wrote this on 6/6/20. Trauma. You have traumatized our children. You have used excessive force to arrest someone for selling water, CD, anything. While you arrest, we can see you don't have empathy. While you arrest, we can see you don't you love the power that the uniform has given you. While you see a black man or a person of color, you don't tell them to leave. You already have killed him in your mind, and we see you carry that out. While you see a young black boy, you decide to choke and manhandle him while he's not resistant, and yet you still traumatize him, choking, breaking his arms, and putting your weight on his chest so he can start dying slowly. You also use tools like your stick, pepper spray, and gun to damage his mind and body. Enough, enough, enough. 250 years of slavery, 100 years of Jim Crow. Why do we have to keep turning while you keep killing us? We have been very forgiven, but they are taking our kindness for weakness. Just stop the killing. Just stop the racism. Why we have to educate you when you are well educated. And this is a quote. I'm not sure who said it. The man that cannot see, it's not because he's blinded, it's because he chooses not to see. And I think that that's something that a lot of people can really see, that what we're going through, it's not that we're trying to, we have to educate people. Is that people don't want to see it. They only see it one way and that's it. They're not trying to feel for what is really, really going on. What is the meaning about racism? What is the meaning about the killing of George Floyd? What is the meaning of the people who were recently found lynched, hung on a tree? What is the meaning of that? And if you start to understand that, I think that maybe you start moving into the direction of wanting to stand with us in changing how things have been. So with that said, I just want to introduce you to Tina. Tina is actually a mom. She's a mother of a Puerto Rican daughter, and she's very, very super proud of her. And she's on here, and we're both here. One, to share our truth. Two, so that we can learn from each other, and so that we start taking the steps that we need to take so that we're not fearful anymore. We don't want to be afraid anymore. How many times are we afraid to stand up? How many times? Even like in school, at work, in public places. How many times do we walk in fear at the fact that something might happen to us or something might happen to our children just because we're of color? That shouldn't happen. And we cannot keep our mouth shut anymore. We cannot keep saying, oh, well, it's not big of a deal that that's going on. Yes, it is, because one, you're traumatizing us. You keep traumatizing us, and you keep traumatizing our children. I don't know if you saw this, Tina, but there's a video that just came out, and it's a surveillance of a child who's coming out, and he's dribbling his basketball.
I did see that.
And then he literally saw a police officer's truck pass by, and he hid behind his parents' truck because you've traumatized our children, and you continue to do that. So I would like Tina to just share her truth, and just, even just have a conversation, because I think this just needs to be out there. And thank you for coming again.
Of course.
And for all those who are watching and supporting.
Well, first I want to start off by saying, obviously, there's a big problem with cops in our country and their power, and I think that it's more of they let people become cops too easily. They don't give them enough training. They put too much on them also. Like, they shouldn't have to do a lot of the stuff that they do. I'm never going to say all cops are bad, because I know a lot of great ones, and saying all cops are bad is the same as cops saying all black people are dangerous. So it's just another stereotype, and I'm not going to do that. But there is a huge problem with our police force in this country, which is hopefully now going to get fixed with all this protesting and stuff. So,
can you just say where you live? You don't have to obviously give your address, but just in the area, because I think, I'm from Schenectady, New York, so that we can see where, like, it's everywhere. It's not just in one spot or in one particular area,
I'm in Weathersfield, Connecticut. I grew up in South Windsor, Connecticut. I just want to say hi, Bocce. I love you. My friend.
Oh, that's awesome.
So I kind of, growing up as a white person, I remember from a young age, my parents were born in 1954, so they grew up in the 60s, and my mom was kind of like my mom's kind of like a hippie-ish type of person, so she just loves everybody. My dad is an Italian guy who had to be like that macho type, and like he had, I guess, when he was younger, a lot of like black guys used to like jump him and stuff, because that was a time where Italians and there's a problem with Italians and black people, I guess. And so he had a little bit of racism in him from that, but then he also had some black friends, Spanish friends, whatever. So I kind of grew up seeing racism like that. But I remember from the moment I could speak, I was always like, "That's you're funny." I was always like arguing with my dad about it, and like, no, they're the same as us. They're all, all people are the same. Why does it matter what their skin color is? And I've always, since like third grade, I remember I was being picked on in school, and I remember this big black dude, his name was Reggie, and this big Puerto Rican dude named Octavio. They would like stick up for me all the time, and they were kind of like my bodyguards. When I was in third grade, I remember them being like real tall, big, just feeling like real safe when I was walking with them and stuff. And I just always like gravitated towards people of color more. I think it's because I don't find them as judgmental as white people.
Mm-hmm.
And I always used to say I don't see color, but now I don't I don't see it like that anymore because I do see color, but I respect you for, and I understand your struggle, and you know what I mean. Like saying that you don't see color is kind of like, I mean, it's a good thing, but it's also kind of a lie, and it's not acknowledging the struggles that people of color go through.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't until I had my daughter that I really saw what racism is and felt it, because I remember the first time I called her doctor's office. It's in a very white town, and right when I said her last name, which is Gonzalez, I heard the tone in the lady's voice change. And I was like, huh. And I was like, oh, maybe I'm just imagining things. And then as she got older and like,
hold on, let me stop you there. You said that the tone just going to the doctor's appointment, taking your daughter to the doctor's appointment as a baby. Mm-hmm. They were like, yes, you know, inclusive and everything, until they heard your daughter's last name.
Right, the tone changed. I could just hear it.
And what do you think the tone was? Just so that, because I think some people are like, oh, you know, like a lot of time we're told, oh, you're just reading into things, you're just too oversensitive, you're just over this, you're just too this. And we're always like, okay, yeah, maybe I am being too much of this, maybe I am being that, but this is not.
Right.
What kind of tone do you think she gave you?
I don't even know if I could really explain it. It was just like the excitement in her voice was gone, or I don't know about if excitement is the right word, but
I'm sure it's excitement, the excitement of it, and the inclusiveness
right,
of her, of the way she looked at, without even meeting her, without you even knowing her.
A newborn baby.
Yes, and then that's where a lot of the times you don't have to even know somebody to know that you're being stereotyped, that they're being racist against you or your daughter or your son. So because of that, then people, you know, then you just start like realizing things. And thank you for saying, even like before you had your daughter, you didn't notice so much of the racism and the bias that you see now, having your daughter being Spanish and Latina, you know. So go ahead, sorry.
But even from people that, you know, friends I've had since I was like 12, and I've known most of my life, and that I love, and I know that in their heart they're not racist people, they even make comments sometimes that, like I'm trying to think of an example. Just say something like, "Oh, look at that Puerto Rican person or that black person." Like, why? I'm like, why do you have to point out that they're like what their color or their ethnicity is? Like, it's just a person. Why are you bringing up what they are? You don't say, "Look at that white person over there." You know, so like I've noticed even with people I'm close to, like they say stuff, but I know that deep down, like I said, they're not bad people or racist people. But I think that it's so ingrained in American white, you know, just being white, we don't even realize that it's in us.
Yeah.
Even if we don't want it to be, it's there. We're ingrained with that, with the history.
But that's why, even with what you're saying, they I've read a lot, and I've just seen so much where it says that if you're born in America, you're literally born in a country that you automatically are going to see the difference, the color, without them even saying, yeah, that's a black person, that's a Hispanic person, that's this. You just have it ingrained in your, I don't know, society just already.
It's in our psyche.
Yeah.
American citizens.
And it's worse when you are surrounded by just, let's call them rednecks, right? It's worse. In white towns, it's definitely shown and seen. And, you know, like even with my adopted family, they have, my family has farms, And of course they're surrounded by just white people. It's a white town and everything. And even when I go there, even though they don't have to tell me, they don't have to show me, like, like they don't have to talk to me in some sort of way, their actions speak louder than words. So like they really don't have a conversation with me, you know what I mean? They really don't care about what is it that I'm doing, what's going on with my life, because they got different, it's like a different topic or a different type of way of living life. And they look at me as what they talk about. I don't belong in that topic because of my color skin.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, like my friend Bachi said, I came to the realization of racism within myself that was really hard to accept, and he cried for an entire day. And he's Puerto Rican.
Wow.
He's from Puerto Rico.
Yeah.
So even but Bachi, you were born here, right? I know you grew up mostly here, but
yeah,
I don't know if he's still on here or not.
I think he is.
But even and that's what needs to happen is like white people, white people, Spanish people, even black people who are racist against white people because of what happened with their ancestors. I see a lot of that they hate all white people because of it, but that's not fair either. Like, I didn't do nothing to you. I'm trying to stand here with you. Everybody just needs to realize and accept within themselves what part of this that they play and then fix it.
And if
we all could do that.
But it's not even like we're fighting to try to be accepting. Remember, we've been growing up in at least even with my generation, where separation is key to try to conquer, to try to keep you at a certain level. So even I've seen it, and of course you've seen it, where black people hate each other, Hispanic people hate each other, all these other races hate each other and everything. But that's the mind. That's what has been part of that system, part of all of this that's going on to keep us from coming together. Because if we come together and I want to give you an example. In my country, even though I was homeless, even though I was in the streets, I liked Christmas not because of gifts. Obviously, I was poor. Obviously, I didn't have my parents. But I liked Christmas, one, because I saw neighbors. I saw people just from everywhere come together and just celebrate. Family, kids playing. And it just went on for weeks and weeks and weeks. And for me, I'm just like, that's so beautiful, to the point that I have not seen that since I've come here to America.
Yeah.
And I miss it, because I can see what our potential can be. We can see what we are able to do. And like you said, we're very loving, we're very accepting. But our empathy, our like kindness, in some way they take that and they have turned it to the point where they think that my life or your daughter's life or my son's life does not matter. And that's wrong, you know? But give us another example with your daughter, with school.
Well, I always had her in a magnet school for most of her school life, so it was very diverse. That's why I picked that type of school, so that, it wouldn't be all white kids. Now she's in our town school, and it's more white kids. Then it's a little bit diverse, but it's more like all white kids, and she's learning about it because of that, and which sucks because I don't want her to have to learn it, but unfortunately that's part of the world that we live in.
Has she experienced any friends or anybody just jokingly, because kids are funny, they joke like when I came here, I was laughing. Maybe it was because I didn't understand English, but they were like, "Did you get a green card?" And they laugh, and I was like, "No, I don't have no green card." Like, like just because I was still trying to learn the language. But like, if I was to share that with my adopted mother, who she is white, and I explained that to her, she'll be like, "Who said that?" Because
Yeah.
it's kidding, it's joking around, but in reality, it really is not.
All right.
Has she
Well, kids are
experienced
so.
that?
I don't know, not that I know of, but she always has gravitated more towards like kids like her. So she has
Yeah.
a couple of white friends from her old school, but in her old school, I loved it so much. Again, it was so diverse, and I think it was like fourth grade. I think it was like fourth grade. She came to me and she was like, "Mommy, what does it mean when somebody says somebody's black?" And I had to explain it to her at that age because she heard somebody in school say it. So it was like she made it all the way up until then without having to know about it because they were pretty good at being diverse there.
Yeah.
So no, I don't think that she's had to experience anything like that. Not that I know of. She hasn't told me, but she's definitely seeing, how people are treated differently.
Yeah. So somebody in here, Eric Coco, he say racism is a disease and can only be cured by love. And to me, I'm like, yes, that is true. It can be cured. It can be cured by love, but only if we unite.
Mm-hmm.
I talk a lot about unity. I talk a lot about self-education, and I talk a lot about, if we really want change in this world, in this country, we have to unite, because all the big people that are running this country, guess what? With President Trump, right? So many people are like, yeah, we stand with you and all this stuff. You're really not standing with us. You just like the money because we spend. We're giving you that comfortability. But if we was to break that comfortability by not supporting them, even economically, not supporting them, we have numbers. There is more of us than them. How is it that we can bring change? By breaking that. If all of us stand together and say, okay, enough is enough, and people really want to see change, that means that we say, just like I posted one of those days, I think it was last month or this month, where we did June 7th, where we did not shop, no shopping. Let's hurt them in their pocket, and let's stand together. But if one of us say, oh yeah, well, she can do that because she believes, that there needs to be change other than food and what really we need, a necessity, I think we should not be spending money and supporting the very people who are very comfortable where they at, and they keep supporting even a president who hasn't done really nothing for us. We can stop that. We can hurt them in their pocket, but we don't want to, because we're so separated and we're so educated. Self-education comes within what it is that you're doing, what it is that your daughter's doing. Even my son, like, I got him more books so that he can read, so that he can educate himself about the law, his rights, even not even about his color, because he's black. He's black and Latino, 100%. He can never change that. But what he can change is the way that society has made him feel, is the way that his school has made him feel. Every single time my son did anything, he was sent to the office. Anything from laughing to maybe a little bit like screaming too loud, being a kid. There was no talking. There was no second chance. Versus other kids, they can be cursing, and they're pulled back in a game, in a basketball game.
Yeah.
In a Christian school.
I was thinking, a couple, like when all this George Floyd thing happened, I was thinking about when I was a teenager. I used to be like really mouthy to cops, like if they ever, came around us and we were doing stuff that they needed to come around and discipline us in any way. I would be like, oh, just talk crazy to them, no respect at all, and they wouldn't do nothing. If I was black, I probably would have been dead.
Yeah.
That's good. White people don't realize that type of privilege either. Like that's what that's a big part of it, is that people need to realize, like I said, our part in it, accept it within yourself, and then try to help change, like by in your community. Like my friend Betsy just said here, you got to make sure you go out and vote to get the people in power out of office. I agree with that, but I think that all politicians suck. So really,
I think we need a whole. We need to dismantle everything that's been and restart. And I think because, and you know why I say that? Some people might be like, well, that's tough. Yeah, that's tough only if we believe that it's tough. So that means I'm not taking action because I think it's tough. I'm not speaking out against what's happening to me and my son, you and your daughter, because it's not enough. Yeah, this is enough. Our conversations that we're having now, even though our conversations, this is reality. And I think that the more people who speak out against it, there will be change. So like in one of my, for example, in one of my jobs, I know for sure this personal trainer, he had everything that he needed to do to be in a position to run the wellness floor. But because he's 100% Latino, and the area that we're in is very diverse. There's a lot of Spanish people, there's a lot of Black people, hardly any white people. They continue to not give us positions where we are able to make change. So then sometimes people say, there was I don't know where it was, but somebody say, yeah, it was cool back then where Rosa Parks was in a bus and we were sitting in the back, or we were sitting segregated, and then we are now able to drive the bus. But that's not the cool part of it. The cool part would be if we own the bus company, if we own all those advertisements that are going on in a bus. There's where we have to go. And some of us have settled and thought that was driving the bus is like the best thing. And yes, that was a little change, but that's not the ultimate change that we need, because we need to be in a position. We need to be in positions where we are able to make change. And we are allowed, not just even, I don't even want to say allowed, because I feel like I'm asking somebody to do something that is right for us and for our people. If we are only limited to a certain level of, whether it is in school, with our kids, they can only participate in a sports event, but they cannot speak their mind. They cannot wear their afro. They cannot show their culture too much because it's going to be offensive.
Honestly, I think that it's because, and I mean, it's been proven kind of in history that they know that if they give that power,
it's change.
Capability of it's going to take over the world.
It's change.
That's what they're scared of,
But
what better time than now? The whole world has just stopped for like 3 months, and then all of this is happening. So I really feel like it's all for a reason, and this is a time, and this is a generation that could really, really make the change if everybody, like you said, unites and works together on it. I mean, it's not going to happen overnight, obviously, but making.
But what do you think?
Positive progression.
What are you going from now on? Because I've been thinking about this. From now on, how do you think you will be acting different with your job, with your daughter in education, in school? How is it that you are going to do things differently? Because things will never be the same. And I think for me, I know that it's not fear. I've never been afraid. But the fact that I stand alone is what I'm still here and not here. And it's not even about, it's not about power. It's not about levels or anything. It's the fact that I'm not going to get discriminated just because I'm Latina. I'm not going to not be given a position just because I'm Latina. I'm not going to be talked to and be disrespected in front of others and other coworkers just because you don't like me, just because I'm Latina. You know?
Right. Do you think that media has a lot to do with it? Like,
what do you mean? Like
I feel like because I don't watch the news at all. Like I won't have it on in my house. I feel like it's like evil.
Yeah.
If I want to know something, I read about it, and you know. But I feel like they're trying to divide us further by
distracting us.
Not only that, but I don't even know how to say this right. They emphasize all of the killings and all that going on with people of color. They never say, like, when this happens to a white person. Some stuff like that happens to a white person, too. But I feel like they're trying to... I'm not saying that it's, like, not worse with people of color. Obviously it is. But I feel like they're using it to further divide us instead of, like, they should be on the news trying to find ways for us to unite. You know? Not just getting bad news, and, you know, like, Fox News is Republican and CNN is Democrat or whatever, so, like, they're, you know, having people choose sides and all that. Like, all of that needs to stop and just everybody come together, realize that, you know, the police are killing people of color, and obviously that, you know, that happens to white people too, but I don't even know how to say this right. I actually read something about it the other day, and it made total sense, but now I can't speak it out for some reason. But
no, it's okay.
They just need to use outlets for more positive things than talking about the negative all the time, you know?
Well, yeah, go ahead.
The guy that was hanging, or they found 2 people hanging in California. A couple of people were posting that on Facebook the other day, and one of them, I looked at it, and it was from 2018. Yeah. So that's been happening, but now they're just starting to talk about it because of all the other stuff going on.
I think that because
haven't we been talking about it, or what? You know, I don't know. Change has to come from that high up too. Like the people, everybody's watching the news and being sheep and following to what they say they're supposed to do instead of educating themselves.
Yep.
And, you know, people. Yeah. I guess the point of this whole thing I'm trying to say is stop watching the news and self-educate. And then let's unite.
Well, in response to what you said, is that for me, I also don't watch news like that unless it's a reliable source and it's a neutral source. What I see with the news is that still they like to show a lot of the negativity, a lot of the violence, a lot of the things that people want you to know to keep fear in you and to keep putting fear in us so that we don't move from where we at to where we can be. So for example, it's fear of even going to certain countries because they just talk about the violence. They just talk about this and how horrible and the killing. There's killing everywhere. There is evil in the world everywhere. But if the way propaganda works is if you want to keep a certain people in a certain spot, you have something to you have them feel like stuck in a and that's the way our children are right now. They just see something and they stay there. They don't move. They're like robots. It's like zombies. And that's the part where I think that if you break out of that and you start saying, hey, we're dealing with a bigger issue now. This is just not coming out. This is not just coming out. This been happening. This has been going on. But the only thing that's going on right now is that, you know, to be honest, I don't know how free we're going to be from now on if we don't make change of who is watching us, who is going to allow us to have these type of conversations.
Yeah.
And to have an effect on the world and other people who can watch us from Guatemala, from Mexico, from anywhere, from Puerto Rico.
I know. I follow a guy that has a lot of followers. He's in Thailand, and he has a lot of followers, and he's talking about all this stuff, and he's been talking about it before all of this, and he's always just speaking about the truth about food, about everything.
Yeah.
And he posts like screenshots of how sometimes Instagram will stop him from going live about the stuff that he's talking about.
Yep.
So yeah, it's a lot of it too.
And that's the thing.
Talking about the fear, like when I went to my first protest a couple weeks ago.
Oh yeah.
My daughter was like terrified. She was like, "Oh my god, I'm scared to go! Like, what's gonna?" Because she was seeing like on TikTok and stuff how there's like fires and all this stuff like going on, like LA and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But, you know, here in Connecticut, and we're a small little state, everybody's been being peaceful so far. But even I was a little nervous, too. I'm like, because of all the stuff that they're saying, like, people are out there looting and all this stuff. And when we went to the first protest, I was even talking to some of the cops there. And I'm like, why are you guys not kneeling like they want you to? Show some respect and go down on your knees. Like, why are you standing here like there's... Like this. I saw one cop starting to get his riot gear on. There was like nothing happening. Everything was peaceful. There was a couple of younger kids that were like getting a little too much, but you know, they didn't do anything. And the cop was telling me, he's like, we thought that they were gonna start looting because they had the protest like right in the middle of where all these stores are in that town.
Yeah.
And so they thought that like they were getting ready for it to instantly be bad, but it remained peaceful the whole time. They had the worst thing that happened was the teenagers that were kind of leading the whole thing, and like teenagers, early 20s, they were like standing up on a cop car that was in the middle of the street, in the middle of the crowd, and like talking to everybody.
Yeah, and you see, you was just saying the fear.
Right.
If you would have allowed the fear of what your daughter has been watching and seeing, you guys would have never gone out. You guys would have never experienced it yourself, and also try to support and lead, follow leaders. I say, if you're not you don't have to be a leader in order for you to bring change. You can, I'm looking for people who I can connect with always, because everybody's so good at different things. And together we can put all those pieces and we can bring change. Again, that's only if you are willing to step away from being fearful and allowing people and allowing social media and allowing the same people who want us, keeping us down here, to not grow and to not do anything, And I also, I don't know if I read it somewhere, but or I saw it, where one way that they're doing that somebody, or that we see all these injustices in, is, and how is it that we can live in a country like this? Because some people are like, well, we're free, we're really not going through a lot of things, and we're not getting killed like other countries or other places. But one person, this is Dr. Stevie Perry, that's what he said. He said, from the very, very beginning, from kindergarten, education system, it's already targeting our children, our kids.
Yeah.
Now, with that said, I work with a lot of kids who already have ankle braces. They're 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. They've been suspended multiple times. And not only that, they've been to juvenile jail already. Now, people might be like, well, you don't know the situation. Okay, I don't know the situation. Let's say that. But from the very beginning, from kindergarten, the people who are educating our children and who don't want our children to grow to be successful, we traumatize them at a very, very young age and say, your playfulness is too much. Your the way you do things is too much. It's too aggressive. It's too this. It's disruptive. It's this. It's that. Right. Then you start taking them out of the classroom because you're giving them lunch detention here, lunch detention there, timeout here, timeout there, and not just a mini timeout, 30 seconds timeout. It's a 10-minute timeout or a whole recess timeout or every day timeout. So then our kids are growing like funny, already funny, because I see it with my son. Like he gets punished every single day in school, and he keeps going through this every single day, and I'm like, okay, let's making sure that you're not doing something that is really disruptive or really going overboard. But it's every single day. And then on top of that, he's getting detentions. On top of that, he's getting suspended. On top of that, they get from suspensions to like out of school suspension. So our kids are not learning. And then they come back and then they wonder why they're doing so bad. They come back and they wonder why they don't have respect for you, because your eyes and the way you acting towards them, they know you don't like them. Mm-hmm. There's a difference. And my son taught me this. He said, Mom, his teacher this year, he said, I was like, do you like your new teacher? And he was like, yeah. I was like, why do you like her? Because she's strict, but I know that she doesn't hate me. He's 10.
That's sad.
So then remember, all that record, it's in our kids' background. So then when they get to middle school, high school, they're already dealing with parole officers, with police, with authority. So we are.
If they don't have a mother or a father or parents that defend them the way that you do your son, and they're just going to fall right into the system.
And that's where it goes back to self-education. Even moms. I'm a single mom. Single parent.
But there's a lot of moms like you that are here that don't even speak English, so they can't talk to their kids. Teachers like you can, so they're not in the loop as much and they can't defend them as much because they have that language barrier, or some parents just don't care enough to be there for their kids,
and you know what?
Stuck in that trap.
Yes. Yeah. And with that, this is why I keep trying to learn, and this is why I keep trying to reach out to people. And if people want to follow me and they reach out and you want to do, because I met you at a Zumba certification, right? I didn't know you. But because we were so like, we started that conversation here and there, and we built up a relationship already. Now I know I can see what is it that you're good at, that we can help each other with when it comes to even our kids. So I had somebody on Facebook. She write, what is it that we can do to be more inclusive? And I say, I notice people's ability. Like this girl, she has a PhD. She writes research papers. She is very good at communicating on paper. You know how many people, if somebody was to tell me, hey, how is it that I can help you? The fact that you can tell me that if I'm going through something, somebody who's racist, somebody who's tyrant, somebody who's going against my son and nobody's listening because I'm of color, my son is of color, and we don't have support, you can support me by helping me write a letter, by helping me get to the next level so I can be heard, so that my son can be heard, so that this can stop. And that's what I like learning about just people. I think everybody is beautiful in their own way. Everybody is unique in their own way. And we can help each other. We can learn. And you don't know. I don't always know anything. I've learned. I literally come from Guatemala, no education, to come into America, learning English and being so tough to the point that sports, I love doing sports, anything with sports. And then I follow what my adopted parents were telling me. find out that that's not the right way to go, because they're very like this too. So I'm like, okay, there's something wrong in here. I started educating myself. I started surrounding myself with people like my people, like me, like Latinos, black people. And I just keep learning, even through my mistakes, like I've made mistakes. I'm sure I've said things that are not correct and right. But I've learned from them, and all I can do is, after I had my son, since he was in kindergarten, I already experienced him going through racism, by our white teachers who teach our kids. So my ultimate goal for me is to always be my son's teacher, even if he has other teachers, for him to know who he is, so that nobody else can tell him any less. And he can never take his color skin off.
Right.
He can never say, I'm this color today, I'm that color that day, next day. I want to be treated like this one day because I changed my color. No, he should be treated for who he is. And I've always said my son has a huge heart. But even when he was in 6th grade, I record my son praying, and he still was praying about being a good boy in school and trying.
Is his school like pretty diverse, or is it mostly white kids?
No, it's like mostly white kids. And the thing is that it's there, but people don't want to listen. People want to turn the other cheek and say, no, it's not that. No, it's not. That teacher's really, really good. Oh, really? I didn't say if she's a good teacher or not. I'm saying how she's treating my son, how he's treating my son.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I saw that happen. I saw that happen to a kid in my daughter's old school. It's like once they cause a little bit of trouble, then they get labeled as that child, and then so it'll only take one teacher that hopefully has a bigger heart and will see past that and say, okay, what can we do to help this, and show him that love that he needs to get at school, and hopefully he'll get that teacher soon.
Yeah, and
at least he has you. That's good. But
I say ultimately,
the kids that you help, you're doing good things for them. Like you'll probably be that person in a lot of those kids' lives that if they didn't have you, they would have went down a totally different path.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
I love working. I love working with, they call them disadvantaged kids, trouble kids, bad kids. I'm like, I love working.
Like putting those labels is just wrong.
And that's the thing. We're labeled all the time. So like, if I'm an outspoken person and I say what's in my mind, because you're not gonna just talk to me disrespectful, and I'm not just gonna be dumbed down just because you think I should dumb down to you. I don't know who you are. Then they consider me as trouble. They consider me as the loud person.
I had that in high school. I had a learning disability. I still kind of do. Like, I need kind of like one-on-one to learn good. And so a lot of my teachers kind of were just like, oh, she's not doing what she's supposed to do. And I kind of acted out because of it. And my vice principal took me into the office one time when I got in trouble, and she said, you should just drop out of school. You're never going to make anything of yourself.
You see, and that's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about, because a lot of our kids hear negative comments. And even though you might be going through some shit as an adult, as a mother, it's whatever, you might not know everything. Just know that if you love your children and you show them that love, and they feel comfortable coming home to you every single time, even when they get older, they know that they don't need to go and have somebody else to justify who they are, to try to show them who they really truly are. And that's even with me, ultimate goal is, like, I had somebody tell me, because of the language barrier, somebody in college, a professor told me, you'll never be able to be a math teacher. Math teachers are supposed to know what they're talking about. And I'm like, thank you. And I cried. I had such an awful semester, and I cried every single day. But I never gave up because I'm the type of person that I don't want to give you the satisfaction that you was right about me.
Right.
No matter how hard, no matter how difficult it is, I am going to stand up for who I am, and I'm going to become somebody bigger than what you thought of me. And who are you? Now
Exactly.
now I say, if you don't pay my bills, if you don't watch my kid, if you are a negative vibe, I'm sorry, but nice to see you, and that's it. Hi, bye, and that's it. And I keep it moving because I really think that the people we surround ourselves with, the people that really motivate you, and it's not even about sad stories, like it's not even about, it's like not knowing how to do something, but then learning from your mistakes and moving on. If you keep doing the same shit over and over and over again, you just like drama.
Yeah.
You just like to have somebody give you attention. But I a lot of the times I say we have to be more than what we're given, and we have to fight for that. It's unfortunate, but we have to fight for that, and we have to fight that not just for me. What is it that I'm gonna leave for my son? What is it that you're gonna leave for your daughter? You know? And I don't want to be the person who stands up for people at the time or for injustice only when something happened to my son. I don't want that. It's an awful feeling, and to me, just seeing what happened to George Floyd, just seeing what happened to so many people, so many people. Emmett Till, I read about him, and it breaks my heart.
Yeah.
He was a child, you know what I mean? And to me, I'm just like, we have to change.
Look at Breonna Taylor, like she was sleeping in her bed.
Yeah.
Like she was a nurse, right, in the middle of this whole pandemic, and she's trying to get some rest and gets shot in her own bed. Like that's.
It's worth standing up. It's worth us talking about it and saying,
"Fuck, what can we do?"
Yeah, and I'm at the point where I'm like, I don't want to educate you.
Yeah, do it yourself.
This has been a long time. This has been happening before you were even thought of, and your parents were thought of.
The funny thing is, I've been seeing a lot of stuff about how we're not educated on Black history in this country. They only give us a little bit of it, and I never realized how true that is. I was like looking back on some nursery rhymes that are all prejudice and like mind blown, like at all the stuff that we've literally been programmed from like birth to be prejudiced in this country. And for anybody watching, and I know I'm going to do it, Yale is actually offering a free history, Black history class, African American history class to tell like the real history.
Okay.
Yale is offering it for free online.
Okay, well, give me the information too, so I can post it, and you can post it, and we can share it, and I will post it even on YouTube too, because I think that having people sharing the truth about what everything should be, it's amazing,
Yeah, I think a lot of people, like I was saying earlier, that I have friends that make comments sometimes, and I know that they're not prejudiced people, but they say things that would make you believe that they are. I think a lot of people don't even realize how bad that we've been ingrained with racism, that even though we don't believe we are, we still have it in our mind somewhere just because of the way we were educated. So you have to go within yourself and really educate yourself on all of it, and then that's when we can all unite and make a change. So everybody has to educate themselves on the truth first.
Now,
just allowing it to happen like it's normal.
Yeah, we have to do that now. We
just
can,
because it doesn't affect you doesn't mean that you should just let it slide by.
And like I said, I'm not gonna wait and sit until something happens to my son or to me, for me to say, yes, let's stand against racism. Yes, let's self-educate. Yes, let's take care of ourselves. And even number one, you, Tina, I know you're very good at this, but you're also educating kids on health. You know what I mean? Our schools don't feed our kids good food.
Yeah.
They don't.
Mm-hmm.
So this is like where, you know, like even with me, I stand with health. You know, like I wasn't always healthy. I always ate McDonald's, Burger King, everything, all the bad food. But the older I got, I just noticed how that's another way that they want to kill us, get us diabetes, high blood pressure, get into the hospital, get medication in itself.
That's why if you go to, urban cities, and you're going to find more McDonald's than you will in an all-white town. There's not going to be any McDonald's and Burger King on every corner. But they target it towards, low-income people, and
we keep
the whole system going.
Yeah.
It's a system.
Yeah.
Keep the prisons in business, and
And even with what I was saying with like what you said with prison, our kids from the very beginning are targeted so that they can get kicked out in the streets, so that those who are looking for us, those who are looking for colored, Latino, Black kids, are in the streets, and they arrest us, they murder us, they do whatever they want. And one of the things that I can't stand, and I just want to say this, is when I saw that video with George Floyd and that officer, that person, his look on his face was just like, evil. I can do whatever the fuck I want and nobody is going to hold me accountable. And that's the truth. And that hurt me because they're saying we can do whatever we want. Still to this day, and shit is not gonna happen. And shit is not gonna change. Things are not gonna happen. Sometimes I see myself like, I don't know if this is what you're going through or maybe other people are going through, but you get mad. You get frustrated. You feel like, I feel like, where am I right now? Like, why do I feel so frustrated? Like sometimes I don't even want to talk to nobody in a way that I don't want to hear excuses. Because I'm so sick and tired of just saying, if you did not saw that video, or if you saw that video and you did not have no feelings for it, then you're just part of the problem. Mm-hmm. Because that's just, to me, I'm like, even his crying to his mother. Yeah. Like that's just. And the
fact that people like Candace Owens and those kind of people are coming out saying, well, he was a criminal and all this stuff, or there was drugs in his report. It's like, okay, so if somebody has a drug problem, that means that they should get murdered.
Exactly.
Like,
and
help like anybody else does.
And that even with the jail system, once kids go to jail, once you have a criminal record, people can't vote. Yeah. That's one way they stop us from voting. That's one way they keep us from winning, from getting better, because they have more than 30% of our people in jail. Yeah. It's part of the system. It's part of what they're trying to say. Oh, yeah, your voting doesn't count. But at the end of the day, I think that position and is very essential. Position, where we stand in positions, in our job, in schools, and in life in general, it's very, very key to change. The other thing is, if people are just trying to justify whatever is going on, and they keep doing whatever they want, then, and we're just like sitting here and just saying, oh, well, it's not really happening to us, it's not really happening around us, it's not, and you just kind of settle,
let it go by. Yeah.
You just let it go by, and you just let the days go by. Right. That's tough.
Yeah, people can't be complacent anymore, and I think that's what a lot of people are waking up to it, and I think that has a lot to do with the fact that everybody's been quarantined for so long. So when something happened, now they're actually seeing it and paying attention. But I think a lot more people are waking up to it, but we still have way more work to do.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
like older generations.
I think that if people want to start taking steps in how to help, and you might not know how, follow a Sean King. I don't know if you're following him, Sean King. He's very well organized. He really, like, you can listen to his podcast too. Do you listen to his podcast?
Yeah.
And you can download it, and you can really get yourself educated by him too, because he really brings the truth to everything. And also, if we want to change a law, we want to do something, it's very, very well organized. So I say follow him and start from there, because you got to start somewhere. So yeah.
And talk to your families about it, especially white people. You need to stop acting as if just because you're not racist yourself, or you have black friends or Spanish friends, it doesn't mean that somewhere in your mind you're not looking at people differently. And it doesn't mean that your kids don't understand. They don't treat kids of color differently. You have to have this conversation and make it known and accept your part in it. Accept that you don't even, educate yourself. Like I said, we weren't even educated on African American history in the right way. So maybe that's why a lot of white people are like, oh, I'm not racist.
Oh, wow. Instagram cut us off. But you guys, remember, if you listen to anything that we did today, just try to share and try to not just share, but you can share this so that others may learn, and just try to self-educate yourself too. Stay healthy, and keep just going with what it is that you need to do, and stand up, because stand up meaning let's bring change. Do not settle. Do not sit back and think that just because it's not happening around you, near you, it is there. Racism is everywhere, and we must demand for change. Okay, so have a blessed day, you guys. Have a good night, and hope to see you guys again. I'm gonna be doing another um, YouTube video like this too, with somebody else who is going to speak their truth about it, about racism and how they're standing against it. Thank you, you guys. Have a blessed day.